Developments tonight in the Boston Marathon bombing's death penalty trial as the defense continues to press for life behind bars for Johar Tsarnaev. But prosecution is trying to prove Tsarnaev's imprisonment would not be as punishing as advertised. Eyewitness News reporter Jared Planner joins us now from federal court in Boston with more on today's testimony.
The defense has said to jurors, if you send Johar Tsarnaev away for the rest of his life, you will never hear from him again. The media spotlight goes out. Well, for the last 2 days, the government has sought to prove that is not the case. The rapidly waning sentencing phase in the trial of convicted terrorist Johar Tsarnaev resumed over an hour late Thursday morning. Lawyers behind closed doors with Judge George O'Toole. The aggressive government cross-examination of private consultant and retired federal prison warden Mark Beasy continued into a second day. Prosecutor Stephen Mellon picking apart Beasy's Wednesday testimony, noting Beasy never worked at the ADX in Colorado, never dealt with prisoners under the most serious communication restrictions. One of the things at issue, Beasy's Wednesday statement that Johar Tsarnaev is allowed only one phone call a month currently and would get only 2 if in prison for life at the Colorado facility. Beasy admitted Thursday those are minimums and more could be granted. A so-called H-unit inmate is allowed 5 visits a month from immediate family or from whomever is on a list approved by the U.S. Attorney General, and unlimited legal counsel visits. The government also noted 9 terror inmates have had their communication restrictions removed or lapsed since 2009. Beasy acknowledged a step-down program does exist where certain ADX prisoners can transition to less restrictive conditions, but there are those who never have and likely never will. Oklahoma City bomber Terry Nichols is one of them. He has remained in H-unit. And the day ended just as it began. The judge and attorneys emerging from chambers, the judge telling jurors there were too many issues that still needed to be resolved, and he sent them home early for the week. Coming up at 6 o'clock on Eyewitness News, who could potentially be testifying on Monday, and it is a big name. In Boston with the Mobile Newsroom, I'm Jared Planter, Eyewitness News.
Now we turn to the Boston Marathon bombings trial. Only one witness took the stand today before lawyers from both sides met with the judge privately. Soon after that, the jury was sent home early. Pinpoint News Tracker is going to take you to federal court now. New at 6, a woman who spent time in the national spotlight may take the stand next week. Eyewitness News reporter Jared Planner has the details from Boston.
This is Sister Helen Prejean, a Catholic nun and for many years one of the nation's leading advocates for the abolition of the death penalty, even inspiring the 1995 Susan Sarandon film Dead Man Walking. Now, the defense of convicted terrorist Johar Tsarnaev wants Prejean to take the stand and persuade jurors to spare his life. Judge George O'Toole spent much time with attorneys behind closed doors Thursday before sending the jury home early. If he allows it, the 76-year-old Prejean could testify Monday. We've also learned about material the government could introduce in its rebuttal case after the defense wraps. A transcript of a Wednesday sidebar exchange reveals prosecutor Bill Weinreb told the judge his team has notes Tsarnaev apparently wrote in the hospital that could go to lack of remorse. Quote, Your Honor, 2 days when he lay in the bed in Beth Israel, he wrote one defiant note after another. It's up to the jury to decide if they were defiant statements or not. We happen to believe many of them were.
And you can count on Eyewitness News for continuing coverage as the defense continues to present its case in the penalty phase of the Boston Marathon bombings trial. We'll bring you updates from federal court as they unfold right here on WPRI 12 and on our website, WPRI.com.